only a couple more days of classes left, and for them to finish up here. We had our last workout about an hour ago, and now we move into another season. So it is I think everybody agrees it was a great year. It wasn't a good year, it was a great year. And now we sort of have to adjust and be ready to be very versatile in these next couple of months when the season's over. So really proud of these guys, the way they conduct themselves, and the whole year. We've talked about this at the end of our loss to Texas Tech. What a good team this was, and probably exceeded expectations going into the year. And then once you go 17-0, the only expectation is you'll never lose another game, and of course that's unrealistic. So we did the best we could. I don't think we ever lost 2 in a row. We had some great road wins. I think we were 8-5 or something on the road, or 7-5. Had some great road wins. It was a great year. So we'll celebrate that a little bit today, give out some awards, and that's where it is.
Go ahead, Chris.
What's it say when you win 30 games and get to the Sweet 16 and there's still a little bit of disappointment?
Oh yeah, I think what's hard to say with a smile is it's a great part of our great statement of where our program is right now. And so good. I think that I still remember, and I think it was either in the News of Detroit Free Press when we made the Sweet 16 back in 13. It was like this headline, Sweet 16. It was like 20 years ago we got in it. And it was like, wow, we made it, like we made it. And now you just get there and you didn't make it. So it's great, it's a great sign.
Are you, John, just, talking about the guys that have put their names in the hat? Have you gotten any more feedback from them?
We've gotten a lot of feedback so
yeah.
far. And now, once we went to the Final Four, we came back, and then I hit the road recruiting, knowing, right, that a couple of them are really going to seriously think about this. So I've been on the road recruiting like crazy, just in the event that we have scholarships available. So I think we'll know more. I think I start calling general managers and talking with them personally, and just give them as much info as I can, and then try to educate not only them but their families on this process. And it's very different right now, right? With the agents can grab them on a weekend and fly them somewhere, or it's very, very different, and everybody's pulling these young men in different directions. And we're saying, wait a minute, you got a 10-page paper due tomorrow. That's what we're concentrating on. Let's get out of here with good grades. We have plenty of time up till this next week to finish strong here.
For planning purposes, you almost have to plan as if they won't be here, all 3 of them?
I think we're planning for everything, but I think we're planning for everything, yeah.
So there's probably a process for you to get comfortable with kind of the action of you guys turning over players more so. Now what is the process of you getting comfortable with a totally new?
Yeah, I think that what we're going to have to continue to look at is, are we coming back? Do we have the whole team coming back some years? Are we trying to reload some years? Or are we saying, all right, we're in another rebuild. Freshmen are going to have to play, like they have several times. It's worked out really well, but it's some painful years when you got multiple freshmen playing. But we feel good about the young freshmen coming in, and if these guys end up taking those options, then we either try and find grad transfers, or we try and find freshmen that we think are as ready as they can be.
What about the idea of, over the years, you typically try to keep the walls up, you don't want outsiders coming in, keep things close, and then suddenly the year ends and now there's agents, people around.
No, it's a different thing. I think time will tell whether that was a good move. We'll find out. So it's taken some things off our plate where Sadi and I, especially Sadi, were scheduling workouts like crazy. You can't do that till next Tuesday, but that was a major thing. And now you have 3 guys, and you're trying to assist them get workouts, but they can't miss class. They also have to get them. They can't go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to 3 different franchises and organizations and work out. Now the agent will do that a little bit.
I think you described it as...
I'd be interested to see when this is all done, what percentage of kids stay in the draft that sign with agents compared to those that from the past that couldn't sign with agents, where that all comes in. I'm not being negative on agents, it's a different influence. Yes?
I think you described it as kind of a dance at the end of the year to be flexible.
We're all listening to the Huge Show.
I know, exactly. Have you been able to adapt more because you've had to navigate this a few postseasons?
I mean, I've had to do this wherever I've been. Whether you come into West Virginia, you got 1 player that there are one or two players or carryovers, maybe two or three, and only one of them really made it. And then same thing here, where there was a lot of attrition here. So you just keep adapting, and it makes your year longer. There's no question about that. That when I laugh so hard, Bob, and say, "Now are you getting some rest?" No, I would get more rest in the season, and I don't sleep during the season. I get more rest in the season than I get in this month right now. If you knew I can't tell you my schedule. The next month, the next 10 days, it's absolutely incredible of how we got to go out there and be in position to be in position.
And I imagine the transfer portal is a big part of that now,
Yeah.
a much bigger part than it used
I
to.
let my assistants take care of that, and they bring guys to me. And we're just trying to find out what's, guessing where you need is written. It's not easy. And then again, it's not like the NBA where you find out what you need and then you can go draft somebody. We have to recruit them, and then we finish second or third or one, or with guys, then you got nothing again. So it's interesting time.
Coach, another shout out for the huge show, I guess, yesterday.
Yeah, it was an incredible show. Their best rated show ever when I
Yes. You said,
at least in Ann Arbor.
you said a lot of, the 2019 kids, and I guess possibly grad transfers
Yeah.
too, wouldn't want to necessarily wait until May 29th.
That's going to be hard for them to do.
You've got, two guys, Charles, declared,
Yeah,
two
yeah.
guys out there who could
Yeah,
wait that long.
yeah.
So what does that make those conversations like? If they
There's no book on this yet, so we're going to continue to have very, we're just like around the edges right now. We're about, let's finish school, let's see what's the reports that are coming in, and then let's continue to grow and make educated decisions here. So I can't give you an answer on that yet. I think we're going to have to, just like a game, what out of bounds plays are we going to play, what zone, what defense we're going to play, how we're going to switch screens. You sort of got to adapt to what you feel, what's going on, and make decisions that way. And some of them might not be popular. We just might have to make them.
And then how did your experience with Jerron Simmons, how will that affect, how you view grad transfers?
I don't think it will affect it one bit. I think Jerron was a great addition here. I think probably he wanted to, and we want him to probably even have more success. The kid went in, came big shots for us, played in the championship game. It was a good experience for both of us. I don't think he regrets what he did, and we certainly didn't regret taking him. So we're willing to do that again if it's the right fit.
Over the years, I guess, you mentioned adapting. How have you, decided what aspects of the way you run the program are worth changing or looking at?
Well, I think I'm doing that every day, but I think you change there's a whole bunch of stuff that we're not going to change, and that's probably the hardest thing. But it's the things that are basic to winning basketball games, having high character kids, having kids that fit Michigan, right? Trying to get skilled players who all can shoot as much as you can, right? And kids that just would fit right in and want to be here, right? So that's never going to change. But style of play and things like that's always changing.
I think
So-
you spoke at the end of last season about diversifying the offense after Texas Tech loss.
Yeah.
If you do lose these two guys here, how much more difficult is that?
It's not as much about diversifying offense as teaching our guys more skills. We have to play much more one-on-one, much more, right, than we have in the past. It's hard to, we have a lot of ways of getting leverage, but when they take all the leverage away from you, then you got to be able to beat your man, come down that with a shorter shot clock, with the way the defenses are there. There's just, we're good. A lot of people are really good at attacking rotations and offensively and getting people into rotations. And people take you out of rotations like we saw 7 or 8 times this year. Then we got to be able to adapt to that game too. But you still got to be good at, because some teams aren't going to do it. But I think it's better at getting, the Xavier's to the blind spots in his game, get them better. John, the blind spots in his game, get them better, right? Because schematically, I like what we do, but it's more about improving them. And then from the very beginning, you get freshmen in here. Well, this is where the game's going. You got to be able to score one-on-one or see people one-on-one.
John, you've had your individual meetings with guys, right?
Yes, everybody.
So beyond the 3 NBA decisions, do you anticipate the potential of any additional?
No, I don't, but I've been surprised by that later on, but I do not. And we were very frank with people in that one. We don't anticipate any of the losses.
John, in the old days, you guys have had so many innings in the last 7, 8 years, guys that really go on your draft.
Yeah.
In the old days, maybe you'd be surprised by it. Realistically, when you start with kids now, when you start thinking, maybe we'll lose this guy, can you share that during a year, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
I guess it's
yeah.
better, right? But
Yeah, you go through a wave of emotions when it's mentioned to people, or you know that people when you hear that people are putting more pressure on them from the outside forces, you feel for the kid. At the same time, we got a great history of, if you look at our guys right now, I mean, almost every one of them is still in the league. Are they superstars? Well, some of them are making really good money, and Karis LeVert is becoming a superstar like Tim has become. And the other ones are like still there. So the process has worked, but it's a funny feeling. I mean, when you see a kid, you say, okay, we're only gonna have him maybe for a couple of years. You know the Trey Burke story where, yeah.
well, you thought you were gonna have him for 4, and you almost have him for 1.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it's really hard. It's a sad state of things, as you say, well, I hope he's not too good as a freshman. Just think about that. Do you think Jim Harbaugh is ever gonna say that? Right? You know, but hockey's got the same issue. Baseball, at least they got it for 3 years. There's some things that we gotta continue to try to fix, right? So, but then again, it's a free world, and, you know, I think that the sentiment is kids should be able to go out and have these opportunities if they want to do them. If they don't value college and the experience here and they want it the other way, then that's their decision.
Xavier wasn't conceding anything about next year regardless.
No way.
And you've always said that your veteran teams are your best teams, but have you kind of changed that approach that, hey, seeing your success in the past few years, plugging in pieces that, hey, we can still do some pretty good things?
I mean, you know, Xavier and John, you know, are really, are gonna be, you know, if they're the only ones that are back from the starting group, right, that's it's better than not having them, and they're really all about winning. They've won a lot of games now in 3 years, a lot of games. So they know what it takes. And everybody's gonna develop, everybody's getting better, and so if it's needed, I know we'll have enough people. But everybody else going through the same thing, and there's gonna be a lot of really good teams, and there are gonna be some teams that are in complete rebuilds too, so.
With so many early entrants that you get, your system, is it almost a blessing and a curse that players do develop in it pretty quickly? It looks like, not that you're gonna slow down
Yeah.
development, but
There seems to be a great appeal from the NBA teams for our guys. And they're all, you know, with the exception of Mitch, really, Darius Morris has been in and out, but the other guys have all stuck in the league, and you don't find that a lot of times. So I think I don't want it to be the expectation that the guy comes here, he's gonna be an NBA player. The expectation is I'm gonna really work hard, and I'm gonna unpack my bag, and I'm being there for 4 years, but if I have an opportunity to go earlier, coach is gonna support me. And so that's what it is. But when they play on teams with DJ Wilson and Mo Wagner, you know, and Karis LeVert, they play with those guys, and then they watch them. I think the natural attraction is, well, I'm next. And the NBA guys don't graduate in 4 years. You know, they're there for 16 sometimes, so these guys aren't moving on sometimes. Who came in and was gonna be Kobe's replacement, you know, a couple of years into it? He had to wait, 18 years to play, you know?
So do you think, should there be some sort of rule, something that, in favor of like 2 years? I know it's
Yeah, the 3-year rule is the ticket, but it's not gonna happen. The 3-year rule is the greatest thing in the world for everybody. Because kids get to mature, they're more prepared for the NBA, the whole deal. I've publicly said that before, but I don't see it happening. It would be great. I don't know how you can get away with it in football and baseball, but all of a sudden basketball can't. But it's got to be a lot to do with the NBA, the Players Association, and the agents and all those things. So it is what it is. You got to play by those rules and adjust.
Is the addition of Jalen and Cole coming in later this year, does it kind of factor?
Yeah, we're really excited about those two. I spent this week just watching them again, where do they fit in.
Does it
Two
factor?
great shooters, you know, shooters was really what we probably need a little bit more, and two not good shooters, great shooters. So that's going to really help us, but go ahead.
Does that factor into how, just in case Poole and Bresnik
Yeah.
back, does that kind of impact how you plan to fill those?
Yeah, I
openings
mean,
down
both
there?
of them are, you know, exactly, we recruited with the idea that Charles would be going his 4th year, and he had told us, we discussed it. And then Cole, we knew that, you know, at some point, you know, we're gonna need more help in the backcourt. And so that's where Cole comes in. So I'm excited about those two. But we can't, you know, you're gonna have injuries, you know, if those two ever go pro, you know, we got 11 guys on scholarship. you get a couple injuries, it's not fair to the other kids. So you gotta have enough people there. I think we have played here one year with 11. And I think that we played at West Virginia one year at 11, that was a great year. But I wouldn't expect that to happen. You gotta have some depth.
Do you expect any of your assistants to get any coaching offers?
You know, that could happen, and I think that there's been some opportunities for them so far. It hasn't worked yet, but I'm all for that. They're ready. All three of them can do it.
How does that process work? I guess, do you just ask them to keep you in the loop?
Yeah,
If they
yeah.
get offers?
I'm usually contacted by somebody. They will come and tell me. I've encouraged them all to have agents that should be working for them. It's not the old deal where I never had an agent and anything, and people would just call me up, right? And that doesn't happen anymore. You have to have an agent to do that.
You back at 100%?
Me, I am.
Mhm.
I am.
Can you
I'd
do as
like
many
to sleep again
push-ups?
pretty soon.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, since before your surgery, do you feel like you're where you were
yeah,
before
yeah,
that?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel good. I feel good.
Obviously,
Cardinals won today, so I feel really good.
Yeah.
Kristen Yelich is killing us. Killing us.
you know Charles is gone. I guess, how do you hope he's remembered from his time here in Michigan?
I mean, the defense and what he brought to practice every day is incredible. And that's why we are so good. Just look at those numbers. Look at our numbers. Give a lot of credit to Luke, without question. But give a lot of credit to Charles, because he was getting it done. And when he does it every day in practice like that, and the loose basketballs that he got, all those things, it's not a coincidence that we won 63 games with him in the lineup. And so it proves you can win a lot of different ways. He certainly wasn't the volume three-point guys like many of our leading scorers have been, but he did other things. So really, it's just a great career here for us. And I think he's got a real chance. I guess a real chance as a 3-and-D type of guy, because with given time and just working at it, he can do that. He can guard anybody. I tell you, go on an NBA court, he can guard people.
Got time for a couple more?
John, obviously you recruited Cole and Jalen before the end of this year.
Yeah.
But I wonder if the way the year shook out, the numbers, especially shooting numbers, do you tweak what you are looking for in future players that you're bringing in, different skill sets, more like going back to maybe, having multiple shooters?
Yeah, I think we saw that this year. There were days where, all right, how are we going to score? People are packing it in, right? How are we going to score? So no, we're not going to turn down a kid because he's not an elite shooter. But if he's a poor shooter, that's really hard, right? So, or even a below average shooter. So we'd like to have shooters at every position that have already proven if they can. If not, you see that it's coming on. But these two already have. I mean, these two are really good at it. I don't know if they're Stauskas, Duncan Robinson like, and we've been spoiled by that. I mean, those two are two of the best in the country. But I think that's still going forward. That's something that is in the NBA. You see in the NBA, the shooting fives are changing the game as well. Something we had to do way back in the Pittsnagel, Mike Meeks days, and at Canisius in West Virginia, and it worked. And now it's really working everywhere.
Coach, your postseason meeting,
Yep.
Jordan in particular, a player you see potential in,
Yeah.
but sometimes
Yeah.
doesn't always fulfill it, I guess. So what can you share from that discussion with him?
No, I think we went over all his numbers and just show him, okay, these are your stats, and this is what we have, and this is what you got to do going forward. And so he has a lot of big buckets all over the place. He had tremendous defensive games. I think he'd like his assist numbers to be higher, right? And he's learned a lot about the type of things. Guys that can get their own shot have to be very careful that sometimes they can be tricked into taking bad shots. So he'll grow it whether he's here or somewhere else. He'll grow every year, and he's got the tools to do that.
How many guys will stay for both sessions, do you
A
know?
lot of them.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 or 5 of them. 5. So we got what, 11, possibility of 11 guys coming back, and I think that 5 or 6 have already said they're staying in the spring session.
Can you tell us who?
So that's going. I would rather not.
Okay.
But we do have the ones that need to stay are staying.
Okay.
And I didn't make them stay. I didn't do that. They're all doing well in their classes, so that's really big.
Great.
So you're trying to get around the corner there. All right, thank you, everybody.